Welcome to Getting to Know the 5 Critical Components of the North Carolina K-3 Formative Assessment Process. The North Carolina K-3 Formative Assessment Process is comprised of 5 critical components. All 5 must be present to implement the process. Selecting learning targets, developing criteria for success, eliciting evidence of learning, interpreting the evidence, and adapting and responding to learning needs. The formative assessment process is not linear, but spiral in nature. A technology platform was created to support teachers as they implement the 5 critical components of the North Carolina K-3 formative assessment process. This is Module 4 of 5, Focus on Selecting Learning Targets. Skill steps along the construct progression are used to select learning targets with students. You will need some materials for this module. Download the self-reflection tool. It can be found at this link. It can also be found on the Live Binder for Educators. Click on the Formative Assessment Process tab, then click on the Self-Reflection tab. You will also want to download the at-a-glance documents. They can be found on the Live Binder for Educators. Click on the Construct Progressions tab, then click the At-a-Glance Resource tab. Choose which resource you prefer, or download them all. There is one goal for this module. Participants will gain an understanding of how to select learning targets with students using the next step along the construct progression. So how do I do this? First, we need to determine the student's current learning status. We learned how to do this in Module 2, Interpreting the Evidence. Once you know the student's current learning status, you will use the next step along the construct progression as the student's learning target. Then engage the students in creating I can statements based upon the learning target. Let's do an example of this together. In Kimberly Harshaw's classroom in Orange County, a student created a Play-Doh pancake, cut it into pieces, and counted each piece without the need to recount. Let's go to our at-a-glance document for cognitive development, object counting. Here's a portion of that document. Let's see if we can identify the student's current learning status so that we can use it to select the learning target with our student. Have you determined the student's current learning status? Look at skill step E. States or indicates the same quantity without recounting. This is her current learning status. So our learning target would be skill step F. Names or indicates the same number for rearranged objects without recounting. Let's review. The student in Kimberly's classroom made a Play-Doh pancake, cut it into pieces and counted each piece without the need to recount the pieces or touch each piece as she recounted. So her current learning status is skill E, and that means her learning target is skill F. Now we'll want to work with the student to create an I can statement based on her learning target. We'll want this to be in her own language. You can also engage with the technology platform to do this work. The platform contains the construct progressions, which can be viewed when you have documented evidences. Then you can view the recorded students' learning statuses that match the evidence recorded and determine the learning target. Teachers have also used the at-a-glance versions in flipbooks, and then logged on to the platform and uploaded the evidences and recorded students' learning statuses. You can use these to view the next step along the progression rather than logging into the platform to find the learning targets, just as we did. Let's do a quick review. When you select learning targets, you use the skill steps along the construct progression to select learning targets with students based on their current learning status. Our module goal is that you would gain an understanding of how to select learning targets with students using the next step along the construct progression. Let's do a self-check. Using the self-reflection document you downloaded at the beginning of the module, complete the section for selecting learning targets by checking one of the following: in place, partially in place, or not in place. With a partner or individually, set a goal for selecting learning targets. Describe how you will reach your goal. For example, use the At a Glance document during team planning to share ways to select learning targets with students. Meeting your district professional development is important to our regional implementation team. Module development is a result of regional needs assessments. Continuous feedback is valuable to our team. Send ideas for future modules and feedback regarding this module to Chris O'Brien at the email on the screen.